So this is my latest car. Just traded my white Silverado 4x4. Traded for this. It's got forged crank and forged connecting rods, forged pistons, 1.5 rockers, supposedly all new parts. I don't know why he was anxious to get rid of it. I'll find out eventually. But until I do, I feel like I get the best of the deal. But that's not what I came here to talk about. What we're going to do now is we're working on putting that engine in the 40 Ford. And out here, way out back, because I don't use it much anymore, is my paint rack. This is where I hang stuff when I'm painting. Hang doors and fenders and whatnot. And this is the floor pan for the transmission mount plate. And I'm gonna spray that primer and then black. I already rubbed it down with the what do you call it there, the rust neutralizer. So a little bit of primer, we'll let that dry, and then we'll add some black paint, semi-gloss black, and we'll stick that underneath the truck. Oh, I figured out why my holes didn't line up with the frame. When I laid it on the table, I could see that this was pushed in and that one was pushed in. You can see where it crushed all the little fins. So I got a slide hammer thing and vice grips on the end, and I clamped onto it and yanked it this way and then yanked that one that way, and now they should line up. Let me go try it. So this side's in, the hole, bolt's in the hole, and that side the bolt is in the hole. So I guess that solved that problem. Now I got to get back to that plate. I got to spray it black and stick it back up under there, and then we'll go from there. And spin around. I guess the trick is to spray a little on this side and then a little on that side before it starts to spin, and then you can blow it back in the direction it came. So, oh my God, I guess the primer wasn't dry. I got a custom paint job for sure. But hey, it's painted and that's what counts. This side gonna be the same. This is the bottom. This side's dry. I don't know why. Maybe because I did this first. No, wait, it's starting to bleed through. Alright, so we got a custom paint job on that. I'm pretty proud of those custom paint jobs. Well, okay, I had to put the tarp on because it looks like it might be going to rain any second. But I'm going to weld up these motor mounts. And, come on. Blocking the view. set my motor mount on fire. It's tacked anyway. Then I'm gonna have to unbolt it and weld it all the way around and put it back. So next thing to do would be the other side. Hope I don't set the rubber on fire. Let's see. Can I do this? There we go. Well, I guess I can see it. Let's see, where's my torches? I'm using an extra hot tip, extra thick metal. I know MIG welding won't penetrate enough to do any good, so I'm using this gas welding. Turn it up until it stops smoking. Add oxygen. Right there. And there. That'll hold everything in place until I can take them off and finish welding. And that one didn't set the thing on fire, you know, but it looks like the engine might be offset a little bit. I probably should have measured first. But let me stand back and look. I don't know, it looks like it's a little more to the right. Well, the left if you want to count the side of the vehicle. Well, I'm going to cover it up and come back later after the rain. Because that steel plate still is. Okay, so I got the steel plate bolted to the transmission and clamped to the frame. So now I got to drill holes here and here and here and here and maybe two more up towards the front, and nuts and bolts. I ought to probably check and see if I got lock washers, and got to crawl underneath, do some drilling. Okay, so I got that all bolted in, 3 bolts on each side. These 2 front ones are in line with the mount, so all the weight, none of it's sagging or hanging. And transmission's bolted in. I had to notch out the frame a little bit for clearance. And next step is to pull those motor mounts out and weld them up and put them back. But now that the transmission ain't going anywhere, I can do that. Okay, so I cranked the engine lift all the way up towards the front because I just want to lift the weight off the motor mounts to take them out and finish welding them. The back is permanently attached. So I guess all I got to do then is crank this sucker up until I can pull those. I don't know if I have to go up or down. I guess I'll turn this camera off and play with it. At least I'll try to turn this camera off. Okay, so I pulled out the cross bolts that hold this in, and now I have to unbolt this piece from the frame so I can weld it around here, and got the other one out too, so I'll work on that and then we'll get back to welding. Oh, it didn't weld as easily as I thought it would. I think this piece here is made out of a different type of steel than this piece, because it melted this pretty quick, but it didn't want to adhere to this. It took a lot of heat. Hope I didn't warp it. I'm not going all the way around. I had enough trouble getting to the bottom of it, and as you can see, it started to melt and run downhill. So I'm going to try to cool this off, and there's some water over here. Yeah, boil. Doesn't quite fit. It's kind of cooling it off. Gotta be careful not to melt through the plastic. Yeah. We'll let that cool there for a minute and put it back on the car, or the frame anyway, and then pull the other one. I didn't want to do them both at the same time because I was afraid I might get mixed up and put the wrong one on the wrong side and not find out until it was time to take it all apart again. So I just did this one first, then I'm going to do that one. Alright, so I'm not a perfectionist or anything like that, but I figure this is going to rust up pretty quick if I don't put some paint on it, or all the rust around the welding. So I cleaned it up. I'm going to try painting it before I put it back on. Easy on the primer this time, because I don't want it to bleed through. I want it to dry quick. And there, I think I might as well do that too. Looking beautiful. Now some black paint on top of that when it dries. And meanwhile, I guess I'll take the other one off and start welding. Okay, so this second one, the weld came out a lot better, as I concentrated my heat on this part and got the weld going, then ran it down. Whereas on this side, I tried heating up the bottom and then filling in the groove, and it didn't work out. So I can't make a mistake now. I know this is the passenger side, this is the driver's side. So it doesn't matter. I can't paint them because paint's still wet. And there's not a whole lot of sun out today. It's kind of getting chilly. Winter's coming. So I got to paint them black before I can put them back on. Then I got to wait for the black paint to dry. So I may not get them back on today. So this video might carry on till tomorrow. In the meantime, though, I got this bumper a couple of months ago when I was down at the swap meet in Epping. It's a 40 Ford front bumper, nice chrome one. I'm going to use on the pickup. And while we were out there last weekend trying to find stuff to take to the swap meet, Richard stumbled on this thing because the license plate bracket was sticking up out of the pine needles and the rest of it was all buried. But what it is an original 40 Ford front bumper with the original bumper brackets on it. So I got the torch going. I might as well heat up those bolts and take those bumper brackets off. I'm going to sandblast them and paint them before I put it back together. I might even save that license plate bracket and use that, because this truck's going to be made out of junk parts anyway. So just like my last one. But the last one, the junk parts totaled a lot of money when I sold it, so I don't think I've got $1,000 tied up in it yet. And that includes counting this bumper. So I'm going to get to work on those brackets while the paint dries. Okay, so I got them all painted, and it looks like some of the primer is bleeding through. I didn't give them enough drying time on the primer, but I'll get to it tomorrow and we can put them on. I got a new top. It's more suitable for that size. That big top there was a pain in the ass. So this one is $3. How can you go wrong? 5x7, $3. So I guess that's it for today. Tomorrow we'll put that together, and then I'll be done with this video on how to do that motor mount thing. Well, got the mounts bolted back to the chassis, but I left them loose because it'll make it easier to line up these holes. This is also loose. I need more lock washers. I got to take that apart later and put some lock washers in there, or maybe some shorter bolts and some lock washers, or maybe flat washers and lock washers. Who knows? One of these days I'll figure it out. Now where the hell did I put those pliers? There they are. Right about there. And let's see if I can. It doesn't want to move. I'll try that. Well, I can't work with one hand. So I'll get set up here. From the back. And then I lost the pliers again. Oh, there they are. Well, that didn't help much. I think I've got to lift up on the other side or something. Doesn't move, and it doesn't come through. Well, I will eventually get it. Okay, so there it is. I had to jack up this side of the engine, and then I had to push it that way with the bumper jack, but I got it. So now it's all that's left to do is tighten up these 4 bolts here and drop it back down again, and I'll be done with this job. And next project, I'm not sure if I'll get to it before spring, is I got my door bottoms, finally got delivered, I got the door skins to go over it, but I'm not sure when I'll get to doing that. Because what I have to do before that is I have to repaint this red stuff and my inner fenders, and I got to get it done pretty quick because we had a slight accident with the Volkswagen, which is Viper Red, and one of the fenders got kind of scraped up, so I got to repaint one of the rear fenders on that. So I'll get that done before I get too far on anything else. And like I said, we got to start putting stuff away for the winter, because any day now it's going to be too cold to do anything. Okay, so that's tight. Tighten the other side up. And I want to thank all my new subscribers. I appreciate it, and I need more, and I'll appreciate them too. And I guess that wraps up this video for now. Today is first day of the Freiburg Fair, which is a couple of miles down the road, and so we got everything on the front lawn for sale. This morning the traffic was just creeping, and tomorrow is going to be even worse because it's Woodsman's Field Day, and the whole highway is going to be tied up for like 4 or 5 hours anyway. And nobody stops on their way to the fair. They all wait until they're on the way home. So maybe we'll sell a car today, maybe not. But, I'm trying to get Richard to stick his S10 out front with a for sale sign on it. So it's a rolling chassis once again. The motor is bolted in. I would say permanently, but I don't know. I may pull it out and put in a different engine if this one's no good. But I got to put in a cam and some lifters and rockers just so I can do a compression test on it. So we'll see if this engine's any good. And oh yeah, I got these things here. They got a hole 6 inches up from the bottom, and those go somewhere in around here, because they I think this is for the other side, because the fender bolts to it. Bolts to the firewall, and it bolts to these. I gotta drill a couple holes in the bottom, so wherever they come out I'm gonna drill down into the frame and bolt those down. And there's also a piece that comes out from here that goes to the radiator and hooks into here, so that supports the radiator from going back into the fan or the water pump. So as soon as Richard's done putting that International Scout back together, we'll tip this cab back down, and I'll get to work on that paint job. Yeah, starting to look like it's a hot rod again. I got my new blue tarp to cover the engine. And,
what about the bolts for the front of the mount? Where is it supposed to be? It's supposed to be here?
I'm not sure.
I don't feel anything there. I might have to do something about that.
Yeah.
Actually,
I don't know.
I don't think it's in the right spot anyways, so you're all right there.
Yeah.
So it can come forward more. We just gotta take that.
Yeah, once we get that thing out of the way. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's supposed to be in these holes here or if there's another hole back there.
Yeah, you might have to, push it in some or something. I don't know.
Well, the dipstick fit on the last one I put together, even if it was a different transmission.
Yeah.
It still should have been in the same place. I got to get a hone for my lifter bores. They're a little rusty now.
Oh yeah.
I bought a new one, and I think I screwed it up the last engine I worked on, so I was looking for it, but I can't find it. No. They don't cost that much. I guess I'll get another one.
Right.
I think I can come down through the rocker arm holes, because I can't get in there straight from this angle unless I take off the heads or go through this hole.
Yeah.
So that's probably what I'll do. So now I can put this up on the internet, and everybody will subscribe and like and everything else, and comment. You know, I need comments too. Yeah, so the whole firewall's got to be red, Viper red, and the you know, where I burned it. And I think I got to put a little more Bondo over this over the seam, make it a little smoother, because although the fender bolt's here, I think. No, the fender bolt's right there.
Yeah.
So I guess it comes across here somewhere. So I guess most of that won't be seen.
I know,
But
we should tack the fenders on and put the hood on just for the hell of it.
yeah, I may put the hood on it for the winter anyway, just to protect it from the weather.
Yeah.
But yeah, but first I got to do that paint. I got the inner fenders. I got to do those too, the same color. So I got one of them ready to go. The other one I welding a patch in, and I didn't finish welding it, so I got to do that. But then there's always tomorrow. I can get a whole lot of it done tomorrow, and maybe paint that fender on the Volkswagen while I'm at it. But
I didn't even look at my phone. Wondering when we're gonna get some rain again.